to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Call the meeting to order. Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Approve the minutes.
Motion to approve minutes from 6/17.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. General public concerns. Okay. J.D., you're up.
Gary may be coming in late. All right, good morning. Thank you for giving us a chance to be on the agenda and come talk to you. I think I know everybody here, maybe Sandy, maybe not. I'm J.D. Myers. Nice to meet you. I'm here today to lay out concerns that I have with the Humboldt County Assessor. In the summer of 2016, my wife and I decided to purchase a lot on the northeast edge of Humboldt, just north of Humboldt Rental, and build a machine shed to store and work on our farm equipment. We farm northeast of Humboldt, we live on the family farm, and I'm proud to say that our kids are the fifth generation to grow up on that acreage. We chose to build close to town for various reasons. It's closer to parts stores, easier to get people to help with projects, closer to dealers, etc. In February of 2017, I had a call from the assessor wanting to inspect the building. We were out of town when they wanted to do the inspection. I told them to take a look while we were gone. When I returned, I went to the assessor's office to see what value they had put on the building. I was surprised to see that it's classified as commercial. Previous to purchasing the property, I had asked the assessor how it would be classified, and after explaining how it would be used, she told me it would be agricultural. I reminded her of this, and she told me that she would change it to ag. Within a couple weeks of that visit, I received a letter and a revised assessment. The letter from Ms. Allison said that to stay in compliance with an opinion from the Department of Revenue in 2012 and to stay consistent with other properties like yours in Humboldt County, we will be assessing your property on Montana Avenue as commercial. It goes on to say, I know you were in the office and we discussed this, and I said I would assess as agricultural. But after some discussion with other counties and the opinion from the Department of Revenue, the class will remain commercial. That's the letter that we got. The next day after receiving this letter, I went to the assessor's office. Jerry Haverly was already in her office and invited me in to join the discussion. His machine sheds had also been changed from commercial after 20-plus years of being ag. Ms. Allison referred to a memo regarding storage condos as her reason for the change. That's the memo right there. One-page memo. She went on to say that since I didn't build it on my acreage or on a farm, it can't be ag. I found out shortly after that she'd also changed Gary Jensen's classification too, so all three of us ended up fighting this together with one attorney. We took the issue to the local board of review in 2017. By that time, I'd done quite a bit of research and was prepared with a packet of information for the members. This is the packet that I gave the members at that point. I found a bunch of PowerPoints and stuff on the internet, a bunch of other information about classification of ag. My main argument was that the storage condo memo is for residential versus commercial and not for property that would be considered for ag. It didn't address that at all. I also spent quite a bit of time talking about how location and zoning do not determine class. Ms. Allison never questioned that we were using the building for ag, but the location seemed to be her main point. When the board of review was in deliberations on our appeal, Ms. Allison told the board that they should deny the appeal and let us figure it out from the PAD board because it was too controversial for them to decide. That is the direction that the local board went based on the information Ms. Allison gave them. As a side note, and Gary's not here, but so in 2018 they changed the dimensions of Gary's building just a little bit, and so that gave him the chance to appeal again in 18 saying that it should be ag. That year, the board sided with Gary and agreed that it should be ag, after being told that the assessor could not tell them how to decide. The assessor then filed an appeal against her own board of review for 18. So she's fighting us, and then she also fighting her own board on the 2018 election. The original pad date was set for October of 2017. It would be February of 19 before we got our time in front of them. The long delay was due to the assessors requesting tax returns from us. She wanted a list of all our farm equipment that we own, plus bills of sale that to go with them. We had to give a breakdown to prove how our investment in this building would provide a profit, along with backing up our claims with data. We had to provide all the costs with receipts of the construction to maintain the property, any improvements we've done. If we provided the labor, we had to list that out separately. We had to provide mortgages, insurance policies, financial statements that the property would have showed up on. It was a ton of paperwork. My file was about this thick with all the stuff that we did. And we got all that stuff back to the assessor. When it was the assessor's turn to answer questions, the answers came back incomplete and vague. I've got the interrogatories that she filled out, and most all of them didn't have answers to them, and they're just very vague on the answers. So the assessor also missed several deadlines for getting these answers back to us. Her attorney would not return calls or emails. We were close to asking the judge to compel them to answer the interrogatories so we could keep the case moving. Similar to the assessor's answers on interrogatories, her answers on the deposition were also vague and evasive. Even with the incomplete and vague answers we got back, we decided to schedule a pad date and move forward. So after 2 years, we appeared in front of the pad board this past February. Ms. Fallison had 4 main arguments. The first one was that on January 1st, 2017, we did not actually own the property, and because of this, it couldn't be ag. And it's true, we did not technically own the property. We did have a signed purchase agreement in 16, and we're just finishing up the paperwork. We're buying it from a partnership, and it took a while to get all the paperwork done. So her justification for it being commercial is that we didn't technically own it. The pad board felt that the evidence indicates that Myers paid for the construction of the building from the onset, and the building was substantially completed as of January 1st, 2017. They went on to say the facts strongly suggest that the assessor was aware of the intended use of the property, and that Myers' equitable ownership and the assessment date. Further, Fallison's March 31st memo to Myers does not imply the date the land purchase had anything to do with commercial classification assigned to the property. So they're going back to that first memo she sent us when she changed her mind after telling us it would be ag, back to commercial. They said, you didn't even mention the fact that you didn't own it at 17. So in the PAD, and this, I'm quoting out of the PAD's decision when they sent it back. So they said that they didn't even say anything about owning the property. Thus, we find, and they say the board of review, it's actually Ms. Fallison, I doubt if the board of review had any input onto the argument, but, so they said, the board of review's argument on this point was disingenuous and unconvincing. So the PAD board said that they thought Ms. Fallison was being disingenuous and unconvincing. The second argument was that the use is not in good faith for intended profit. Ms. Fallison had pointed out that we had built some hospital beds for dowels in the shop. So my wife and I, for fun, we ended up building some hospital beds for kids with special needs. It was never for a profit, a for-profit venture, and it was a hobby. The PAD board responded that they believe the Myers' credible testimony indicates their intention in purchasing the property was for ordinary agricultural purposes, and there is every indication that they would continue to use it for agricultural purposes indefinitely. The third argument was for the storage condo issue. So this is the original issue that Ms. Fallison is facing this whole thing on. It's number right here. And remember that was a key issue. So she made a call to Julie Royson with the state. Julie, I think, is, I can't remember her title for sure, but she was with the Department of Revenue. And I think I actually say it a little bit, but she made a call to Julie Royson with the state before sending us a letter that she changed her mind. The PAD board referenced the original case that the original case that this memo came out about. The PAD board said, The only thing that, is similar is that it came to us, and that's it. That's where the similarities end. Then they go on, the Board of Review notes that the Department of Revenue's Property Tax Division Administrator, Julie Rosen, had indicated that the property should be classified as commercial. First, we believe the Board of Review overstates the conclusions, so again, the Board of Review is Ms. Allison, overstates the conclusions arrived in Exhibit H. We doubt that she had the same information that has been made available to Ms. Allison. Sworn testimony of the witnesses and numerous exhibits. Moreover, Ms. Rosen was ultimately engaging in the application of law to fact based on limited information in an oversight capacity. For those reasons, we do not believe Rosen's opinion is binding or entitled to deference. And then the last argument is that we did not use the property with an intent for profit. Ms. Allison argued that our property cannot generate a profit given the cost to acquire the land and construct the building. The PAD board thinks Ms. Allison's analysis takes a somewhat narrow view of the subject property, which is indisputably used as a part of a larger farming operation. So with that, the PAD board agreed that the property is misclassified. Ms. Allison reported to me that the total cost of the county to pay to fight this was $56,408.71. I am not sure that if this is just the attorney's fees or if it included the assessor's time and expenses. The PAD board did not agree with any of her arguments. It wasn't even close. She dropped Jerry Haverly's case, but would not identify why mine was different. This was a waste of money. If she had won, it would take about 10 years with the property taxes from our property to recoup the expense. But she lost. It's gonna take about 100 years now to recoup that expense from the property taxes from our property. Ms. Allison testified that she only made one single call to Ms. Rosen right at the very beginning. She did not call anyone else. No other counties, no other assessors. She had made no classes on ag versus commercial, no continuing ed, no course material to reference, no manuals on how to classify ag versus commercial, yet she moved forward to spend $56,000 fighting this. The PAD board saw the single call she made as having no bearing because of lack of information given to Ms. Rosen during the call. The single storage condo memo that Ms. Allison spent $56,000 fighting this on was found to have no relevance. So here's the crazy part. There was another memo that Ms. Allison could have used. It was dated April 26, 2017, and came from J.J. Severson, tax attorney from the Iowa Department of Revenue. This one came out about a month after she sent us a letter saying she changed her mind, and about a month before we had our local board hearing. The Severson memo deals specifically with agricultural classifications. In the first paragraph, it stresses the importance of the information contained by saying assessors who continue to classify property in an erroneous manner could be found to have committed misconduct. It's a 3-page memo that goes in depth to look at how agricultural classification and commercial classification is conducted. When asked about this memo, Ms. Allison said she had reviewed it in April of 2017, but never read it again. So just to recap, the assessor spent $56,408.71 fighting us based only on a 5-year-old memo that doesn't pertain to ag classifications, and one single phone call to the state that the PAD board sees as having no bearing. All this while receiving an official 3-page memo from the state 1 month prior to the local board of review meeting, a memo that specifically addresses ag versus commercial classification, and she only looked at it once, never read it again, and she knew she had 3 property owners from the county fighting this very case. I know that being an assessor is not an easy job. You can never make everyone happy. However, they need to be fair, and if there is a disagreement, it needs to be handled professionally. It should be easy for the assessor to articulate why decisions are made. This was not the case in this situation. During this experience, I felt that the assessor was not acting in the best interest of the county and was abusing her position. I would like to ask, and I think Dave, you're the chairman of the conference board. I would like to ask the conference board to meet and have a public hearing to address charges of misconduct, non-feasance, misfeasance, followed by a vote of the members to remove the assessor from her position.
We can set you up a meeting.
That's all I have today, unless anybody has any questions.
Anything coming before the assessors, you need to know, and I think I've told you, and some of the others told you, that, the conference board is the one that runs the assessor's office, not the supervisors.
Yep.
So it has to go in front of the conference board.
Yeah. And
That's what you're requesting.
That's what I'm asking for. Yeah.
Right.
And I've tried to hit the highlights today. I mean, I can go more in depth depending on what the conference board wants.
The conference board makes up of 5 supervisors, me being chairman as the chairman of her board. You've got two school board and members or representatives, and you've got 13 mayors. That's the conference board, so. We're just 5 out of 20.
No, I understand, and that's the place to start, and that's what I'm gonna say, is get the ball rolling, and,
We can get you set up with conference board.
all right, that'd be great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, J.D.
You bet.
You wanna set up a meeting?
No.
Call over the board?
I will, when do you wanna do it? I won't have my attorney there.
Yeah.
Whenever we can.
Okay. Night, day,
Evening.
evening, 6?
6 o'clock.
Preferably not towards the end of the month, 'cause most of us have
Meetings.
Yeah,
meetings
that's-
galore. Like this week, for me, I have 4 meetings, so if you do it like second or third week of the month, it's a lot easier.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so give me some time then too.
Okay.
Okay.
And we will, talk about it later.
Okay, we want to set up then. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, Monty Newton. Jana?
Yep. I'm here to do the tax abatement on lots 3, 4, 5, 13, 14, and 15 are ours. We've got a little project for 13, and 14, and 15.
These are the ones that they came and got to sign on the certificate back in March, and they paid the drainage at that time, and now they want us ready to proceed with the tax sale deed, I believe, and so they want to...
So everything's in order and for that to be done?
Okay.
This is their official request to have the taxes abated, penalties and interest included.
What were the numbers again? As long as Peggy knows.
Yeah, and I've got a sheet, but it doesn't reference...
Yeah, I didn't see it
It
either.
doesn't say anything about lot 5, or it says 3, 4, and 9. I'm sorry,
I would have given...
3, 4, and 13, 14, 15. No,
So there's-
no 5.
Lot 5 is block 3, lot 4, 5, and 4, 3, 13, 14, and 15. They're kind of in order.
Okay, all right, I got it.
3 property owners and 7 parcels.
Okay, that's what I was gonna check, 7 parcels?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
As long as you have the numbers, I'd make the motion,
I've got
Peggy.
it. Mhm.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And the next one is Andy Flurry, request tax abatement on parcels in Livermore.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Mine won't be nearly as complicated, I promise. Basically, there's a property in Livermore, and the address is 12 8th Avenue, Livermore. It's right when you come into town on Cave Road, it's a place right on the corner there. According to the records, it looks like they've been delinquent on taxes since 1993 and 1994. And then, from what I gather, there's a total, consolidated tax of $7,768. I'm not the first person to try and acquire this property. Apparently there's some interesting or weird, unique situation, but, Tim Caldwell is the gentleman that's closest next of kin. The lady that owned the property died, she left it to her son, and her son did not have a will, so it's, I want to say, power of attorney was Tim Caldwell. He basically wants nothing to do with the property. He obviously isn't gonna pay up the taxes or anything like that, or hasn't tried to, or I've talked to him personally, he has nothing to do with it. I just asked if you guys meet me halfway here, I'd really like to take over the property, clean it up, acquire it.
Is there buildings on it?
There's,
And I'm not familiar with it.
I don't know.
I'm semi-familiar with it. To explain, it's a bar property, is it not?
Correct.
Does it have anything to do with the house?
it's the house, the shop,
It's the whole,
right?
is it the whole property?
It would be the whole property just to the south of the Green Morton building, Aaron Kranz,
Right.
Green Morton building.
So it is their entire property?
It is the entire property.
Okay, 'cause
And it's, in the legal description, I believe, it's broke up into 2 lots.
okay.
Like I said, multiple people have tried, and I don't know, I know Aaron Kranz tried to purchase it, and he was trying to go through some loopholes or whatever. I'm more than willing to pay my fair share, but at the same token, I don't know if you're, how familiar you are with it, but the place is an absolute dump.
Why hasn't it put out on the sheriff's sale?
It has been the last 2 years and nobody's bought it. I missed out on the opportunity.
Oh.
I came in to buy a bidder number last week, and I was on the last day, so I couldn't purchase a bidder number. They told me to come talk to you guys to see what I could do, or what you could do to help me. So basically, and Eric can justify this, I bought a junkyard and I turned it into a brand-new house, and now it looks 10 times better than it did before. I'm willing to do the same thing here and start paying taxes, so the county can start getting some income, the city can start getting some income, but basically, it's doing nobody any good other than an eyesore for sitting.
So you said you're willing to split the,
I'm willing to split the difference and say $3,300. But, multiple people, and this is just Livermore hearsay, but apparently the city has some input too. They've got a vested interest as far as mowing and stuff like this. So we have to work it out as far as what the city is owed as far as the property here. It looks to me on the paperwork, the Livermore mowing bills come to $769. So basically, and
to mow in Livermore.
Apparently, I don't get paid where I mow.
yeah, so it's, that bill's significant, and then I'm not sure if there's any hidden fees or anything like that as far as the city goes, but from what I can see here, the only thing owed to the city of Livermore is $769. And I have spoken with that gentleman, Tim, and he gave me permission to go on the property and start mowing. What I don't wanna do is start mowing it, cleaning up this property in this 9 months.
Right.
And then somebody goes, oh, this is cleaned up and nice now. So, apparently, and I don't understand this whatsoever, the way my lawyer explained it to me, there's a 9-month hold period, and then I have to give a 90-day notice after the 9 months to make sure that anybody has a vested interest in the property. I don't know if we can cut that 9 months down, but if I can get a letter from this gentleman saying he has no intentions, but if I could speed it up, that'd be great. But in that year, the only thing I'm gonna do is mow, and so that way the city doesn't start tacking it on still, so I don't owe them more money. But if I could get this done quicker, I'd be more than happy to start cleaning up tomorrow if I could. So, I mean, I understand that's an unrealistic timeline, but, the sooner the better would be great, so.
Have you talked to Jana, Rattler, the treasurer, on the tax side of it?
My lawyer has, I didn't have anything, I just told
Okay.
him, I'll see what he can do for me, and this is the first step in what they told me
You
to
want me to
do.
have her come back in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, because I will say, and I don't know for sure, I don't know if AJ knows, how long that's been basically abandoned.
It's been, well, she
It's
went to
been
the
a number of
nurse,
years.
she went to the nursing home, I wanna say, and this is by no means,
Right.
it's probably 5 years, maybe a little
It's
less.
been quite, yeah.
So,
I mean,
and then the other thing is the amount of money that it's going to cost me, and that's why I'm asking you guys to meet me halfway. I did get access to the house, Darryl Hofer gave me keys, and I got permission from this Tim Caldwell to enter the property. I'm gonna need at least three roll-off dumpsters just to empty the facility. Yeah, the shop and the house, and in my opinion, that the house is too far gone. It's been unoccupied for so long that when I turn on the plumbing, I guarantee it's just gonna, and the wheels are starting to fall apart. It's all Latin plaster. So basically, the house is too far.
Yeah, it is, yeah, becoming an eyesore. Well, I do know the backstory, if you kinda mentioned it, but, Mrs. Barr passed away.
Correct.
Her son passed away.
Linda passed away.
So there's no living heir.
She left it to her son had no will, so it went to the closest next to kin, which is this Tim Caldwell, and I spoke with him.
He's out of state.
He lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he wants absolutely nothing to do with it. He has no intentions of paying the taxes. I said, can I get something in writing so we can speed this up? Because he's trying to give it away for free. He said, I tried giving this thing away, the county, the city will not let me because of the amount of money.
Right, you have to get the abatement.
Correct, and like I said, if you meet me halfway, the county can start making money again, and I can clean this place up, and it'll just be a win for everybody. So,
Can we have Deanna speak to that on the abatement?
This property kind of unique in that, when the son took it out of the mother's name, he lost all the benefits she would have for elderly credits, and then it was originally suspended because of her income. So that's why once a property transfers ownership, taxes have to be brought current, and they weren't. And so then penalties are at that, so we're talking...
So actually, what
$9,000.
are the taxes actually, and what are the penalties?
The taxes themselves are, I guess, I don't have updated, sorry, I didn't.
No, you're fine.
I still look, are around 6,000, 6,500, and the rest is...
yeah, I think it's, like I said, the total is $7,600 from what I gathered. $7,607.
Would that include penalties from,
Everything as far as I can tell.
does that make sense, Deanna? I mean, we're not trying to...
Yeah, that larger amount
So it says,
includes penalties.
let's scroll back here, yeah, the grand total due, $7,768. It looks like interest due on that money is $1,639 alone, just the interest. So, like I said, the county's not gonna, you're not gonna get any money from it unless somebody...
Obviously.
Yeah, they're both deceased.
We're not.
Correct,
Tim's-
so, you guys, like I said, if we can work together, you guys can start making money, I can clean up the property, and it'd be a win for the community and the county. And
Did you visit with the city? I know they were wanting it cleaned up.
Well, the city's mowing it right now, and as I told the board, I was gonna start mowing it, because I do have permission from the closest next of kin to go on the property, because I don't want those taxes to continue to go up. But what I do not want to do is go in there and clean up the property before I can own it, because then somebody's gonna come forward and go, oh, that looks nice now.
Yeah, you need to have first right of...
Correct, and if that were the case, and if, I had to wait that 9 months, if I could somehow work out everything that I do as far as work, stump removal, tree removal, all the garbage, whatever, and the dumpsters, if I kept track of all that stuff, and somebody came forward and said, well, I'd like to buy 12, then I have a vested interest in that house as well, and I can keep, if that's the route that we want to go. But the sooner we can just take care of this, the better, because it's not going anywhere, and it's not gonna be... Right now, it's not making
With
any
you not being the legal owner, would you need a notarized letter from this guy that is the owner?
Well, he's not even, I don't even wanna say the owner, that's what's so unique about the situation, he is the closest next of kin, he is the...
He's not even
Yeah.
administrator of an estate.
No.
Is there anybody legally tied to this?
So that's what's so crazy about it.
There's two boys, they're both deceased, both parents are deceased, and they have no children.
That's why I'm asking if this 9-month thing...
And they don't have anybody legally listed as
I don't think
executor?
she had a will.
I think she had a will, and she left it to her son, and her son did not have the will, and he passed away. Which
So,
would then-
whose property is it then?
It's in limbo,
That's why I'm saying it's
That's
so
a
weird.
great question, because I don't know where it goes once there's no...
will, the state came in.
Yeah.
I'm sure the state doesn't want it either.
No, I know, usually that's what I've always thought, the state
Well,
came in.
AJ's question, and that's why we have to ask the treasurer, who you have the information on the delinquent taxes, he's asking for some reduction in the back taxes.
They go back to 1993.
Yes.
And everybody's gone without that collection of taxes.
Yes.
But, don't we have to have like a sheriff's sale on this so we can actually get legal title to it?
No, the tax sale deed, since it's gone to tax sale, he can get an
So
assignment.
it's always been
Okay.
to the tax sale?
Yes, the county owns the certificate.
Okay.
Nobody-
That's what I...
Now you're, yep,
Nobody is interested.
I don't understand this.
that makes sense.
Okay, so we got past that point, so actually the county does own it now?
Owns the certificate.
Okay.
Not
So you're-
the but
Correct.
if we could, he wants...
No, that makes sense. We're at that point.
If he wants the certificate signed to him, then you give that permission, and then he's also asking, can you forgive any taxes? And that, it's up to you guys. Penalties and interest are never that big a deal, because those are over and above of what anybody was ever expecting.
Could you figure, per your statement, the taxes minus penalties and interest?
Well, that's what he has on his paper.
Is that the correct number?
You were just in last week, right?
Correct. So, the interest, like I said, one's $1,600, the taxes due is $6,000.
Well, and included in that is the city special from the city of Livermore, so, you know, $122.
So their loan fees are in there.
Could be reduced anyway. 6,008 is the tax for 1993. There's two parcels.
Is that the total?
Yeah, that includes both. The one parcel is more, expensive because it has the house and the garage. They run east and west, and they all sit on that one, and the smaller, the other parcel doesn't have hardly any value.
So if the county owns it,
We own the certificate, we don't own the land.
Certificate, yeah.
So we can assign it to him, and then
Then
we have the
after
right
the-
to compromise the tax.
Yeah, and then after so many days, he'd go get it. Great.
Since it went to a public tax, though, he has to wait 9 months.
Yeah, so I mean, after you wait the 9 months,
Then-
then...
But at least he has his name on it, so he can do what he wants to do as far as...
Well, that's up to him if he wants to put any money in it, but...
But legally, I have a right to be on that property once I own the certificate?
That'd be an attorney's question, because you
'Cause I-
don't own the property, but you would, if anybody was wanting it back, they would have to pay back the taxes before they could
They'd have
reacquire
to
it.
pay you back the tax.
Plus
Correct,
interest.
but whatever I
Put
made
it
for...
for sweat equity,
Yeah.
That's what you wanna be careful, I mean, that is, you're the one that said that, that's a common concern.
Correct.
And nobody knows, but it doesn't appear that.
Correct, but that's
It's a very sought after.
That's what I'm asking, if you guys can maybe have to, because like I said, I'm taking all the risk here, if I do clean up the property, if somebody comes along or whatever in the future, but...
As far as, you know, forgiving any penalties and interest, if that, one of the penalties is if the city of Livermore's mowing expense has been tacked on, it's not fair to them, because they have legitimate mowing expense.
Correct. That is-
Are you willing to take care of that
I am
with the
willing to
city of Livermore?
Yes.
Because if you just wipe it off the tax roll, they don't get anything.
Correct.
Then they're out their mowing expense.
Correct, I'll pay $769.
Okay. So that would be a separate, and if that's,
And that, it's just 143, because I thought it was Livermore mowing here, $769.
That's the road across.
Oh, well, then it says 143, but I don't...
You can pay the 700 if you want.
they were,
I'm guessing
I
that
was,
they
I was like,
can...
I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense, because it's there, but I was told that it's much more than that.
Okay,
But
but I
we
mean,
never assessed anything.
Correct,
because, in other words, the city obviously wasn't getting paid either.
No.
Correct.
So, I think, in fairness to the city of Livermore, who did legitimately
Correct, that's
mow
all
it,
true work that has been done, and they had to maintain it, and I can honor that.
so that we don't leave them out in the weeds.
As long as it's, whatever, 143 or 769, as long as it's not some crazy number, other than that, but...
And then,
That's something you can talk to the city
Sure.
more about, and work with you also.
between the treasurer and us as the county, do we have the jurisdiction to say, well, we can reduce the amount to bring it?
Yes, if a property owner would pay the full amount.
Right.
The one that wants to take ownership, you could come from.
And there is no property.
Well, that would be on you, on the legality side of it,
Correct, and I'll try and figure that out as best I can,
which,
but like
there's
I
not
said-
much legality here. There's no one to go to, but,
And this would include.
Yeah, and I've already spoke to my lawyer very briefly on it, he's the one that told me to start here as far as working on this, but,
I'm gonna defer to the treasurer, who has this recorded, and we're not getting a dime, if it wouldn't be fair to reduce it to some amount, to get it back on the tax rolls.
yeah. If you guys take all the interest and all that stuff off, I'll meet you halfway and I'll give you half of it, which is, I owe you $6,008, I'll give you $3,004. Cut it in half, and then I'll start paying taxes on divvy, so that each county can start generating.
Yeah.
That's, I think, in my opinion, fair. Like I said, I have to take all the risk. I have to hold their certificate to sit on my hands for a year. That would be my offer to you guys, and it hopefully be open for everybody.
Man, I'm fine with that.
We certainly haven't had anybody else beating down the door to...
Exactly.
I'm fine with that as long as everything goes You say everything's good in your, office, we don't have anything that pops up?
I haven't seen any issues, kind of straightforward.
And we're not reducing any of the city of Livermore's.
No.
Correct.
You have
That $3,004 would go to the county,
Yes.
and I will straighten out whatever.
Yes, that's what I wanted to differentiate.
As long as it's not a crazy number, and those numbers, the city of Livermore reflect either this or this. If it's anything other than that, because...
You'll have to take that up with them. We can't, we don't want it in the county side to take them away from their...
Absolutely, but from what I can gather from here, I'm comfortable with those numbers.
Okay, if you get that squared away with them, and then, I mean, we don't, otherwise it's gonna sit in limbo and it's gonna be...
Do we need to make that form of motion, I suppose? I'll make that motion for, Monty Newton.
No,
3,000.
AJ.
Excuse me. Rockland. Andrew Flurry, for the property in Livermore, said property for $3,004, reduction in taxes.
Plus penalty and interest,
And forgive the penalty.
Forgiving the penalty and interest.
and then you'll be assigning the tax sale certificate
Yeah,
to them.
signing the tax.
I would second that motion, if that motion makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
It will when I put it together.
Yes, it will.
So is there, I mean, obviously I'll give it...
Yep, well, it's me right now if you're ready, if you're
Okay.
available.
Well, it's on you, City of Livermore, and it's on you on any of the legality thing, and it's your...
Correct.
It is a 9 month...
I might not be able to touch it.
No, it's a 9, but it is a 9 month holding period. The 9 months means somebody could step up, pay the taxes in full,
And we gave his money back and we...
Yeah.
and then they would...
Correct, so I'm not out of anything there, it's just I have to sit on my hands if that's the case.
That's up to you.
Donate your time.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, thank you guys.
Thanks, AJ.
Have a great day.
Good luck with that. Clean it up.
Vote on that, did we?
Did we vote, Dave?
No. Motion is second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Let's go down to claims right quick, and go into drainage.
I had, for general basic, I had 218,34309, and for drainage, I had 63,61613.
616?
That's what I have also.
On the back page, that's what I
I'll
found.
second that.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, need a motion going to drainage?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Why, sure.
That was Trish, yep.
Yeah, Sam.
So, Sandy, are you coffee drinking today?
You know what, I am. My tea was really weak this morning.
Spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
Well, there you go.
Well, I'm sure everybody in the neighborhood will be glad to get the property cleaned up.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it is.
That'd be an eyesore.
Right by Aaron's, is it the one?
No, you know where Aaron Cran
Yeah.
lives.
Yes.
About a block and a half south. You have to go straight south. Or, excuse me, north.
I was gonna say-
No, Aaron's is south, I've got my...
Yeah.
North of Aaron's a block and a half.
Okay.
North of Aaron's, so you gotta get over a block.
Okay.
Kent needs one too, if you're...
Thank you, I'll take yours.
You're good. You're good. Oh, that's fine.
Are you a coffee drinker there?
I'll drink black coffee.
Uh-oh.
Well, now listen.
You can drink that foo-foo coffee.
I'm a true millennial, I don't drink black coffee.
You gotta have one of those $3.75 coffees. Well, I'm just gonna tell you this up front, we don't carry the full...
We don't have we're not making a lot.
He doesn't drink it,
We're not-
so that tells you they dare touch you on what kind of coffee.
He tells us it's good, so.
That David, I've already...
I drive truck for a living, so most of the time, if the coffee's decent enough.
Yeah.
I'm drinking it.
There you go.
A lot of elevators, it's like, who made this? You don't wanna know.
The better question is, when did they make it?
These days, it's very strong. It's like,
It's just got age on it.
Run off the wagon.
Yeah,
rough stuff. I've had elevator
it
coffee.
can be a little chewy.
All right, we're in drainage. Bruce Hefty, discussion on objection letter.
Okay, do we wanna call Dave? Or Doug, sorry?
Yes.
If you will.
Hang there. Oh, Sandy, I've been my first lawsuit on the board. Second, yeah. First that I started.
Hi Doug, this is Trish, and I have the board with me in the boardroom,
Okay,
and I guess we're starting off now.
Yep. We've got a objection letter on DD 11 sub 5 from Bruce Hefty.
Yeah, and at this point, on that DD 11 sub 5 district, there was a reclassification just recently completed by the commissioners and the engineer, but as of today, we do not have we do not have that in front of us as trustees, so we don't have the updated reclassification. So just so you know, Doug, so that, it has been done, it is completed, it has not been submitted officially.
okay, so you've done the work, you've ordered a reclassification, the reclassification has been performed.
Yes.
You do not have the report.
No, we do not have that, it has not been presented to us as
You do not
trustees.
have the report, so you haven't noticed everybody that you're gonna have a hearing on that report.
Do we have that yet,
Right.
Trish? No, we
Yes.
don't.
Or no,
I don't think we have.
no, we don't yet, because it hasn't been formally submitted, so we,
Right, you don't have a report, so if you don't have a report, you can't notice everybody and send them a copy of the report,
correct.
for them to file their objections, at or before the hearing on the report, wherein you can take those into consideration and make adjustments to reclassification. That all follow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the letter that Trish sent me, what's that letter? What's he objecting to? He's objecting to some $50,000,
That'd be on the previous classification.
Right.
That'd be, Doug, this is Rick Peterson. I'm assuming, Bruce, this is on the previous reclassification?
okay, previous classification, which was done, I'm assuming, years ago.
Yes.
Okay, so that classification remains the classification, unless it's appealed to and changed, timely after your acceptance of that reclassification. So, I don't know a way for them to get any kind of action but for a reclassification, so the fact you're going through a reclassification gives them the ability to raise an objection to whatever classification that their engineer and two disinterested folks come back with. But they have to start on that process. They can't go back to something that happened years ago and say, we disagree with that. That cake has been baked.
Okay.
It's not years ago, it's 6 months ago.
I think, Bruce,
Did they raise an objection at the last reclassification?
No.
No,
No. Did they appeal the reclassification within, whatever it is, 21 days or 20 days after when you weighed it?
no.
No.
But then that, under the code, that classification remains the classification of those benefited land until there is a reclassification, whether it was 6 months ago or 65 years ago.
But they're reclassifying this one right now, so that's why I put the objection into this new reclassification, so they know it ahead of time on their new reclassification.
I think the issue here, Bruce, is we have to accept the other reclassification first, and then we have to get this letter. You might have to read...
I'm not saying you're not saying that the board can't do it, but we need to get the...
We don't know the numbers yet.
Okay, and just so you know, I'm not here as the attorney for the board, just for the Drainage District Association and their members, just saying, for, you can see here, you gotta actually get the reclassification in. And when you get this new reclassification that's going on now, and the notice of the hearing, once that's been sent out, then the content of the letter is timely filed at that point. Because it has to be filed before the hearing on this current reclassification.
Right, and I did that...
Doesn't mean they can't receive the information, just get past the notice of the hearing and the actual publishing of whatever this new reclassification is.
Correct, I did this because Rick Hopper told me to do it, and he wanted, so the board was aware of it, so when the new reclassification comes in, they are aware of it instead of after the fact, like we were, like you're talking, he said a year ago or 6 months ago. We're ahead of the horse here 3 weeks. So we wanted to make sure they're aware of it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Where's your counsel then?
What's that?
Your counsel, you said send a letter?
I'm the one to send the letter, yes.
Okay. What I don't want to have you do is rely on that letter and have some technicality thrown out.
Correct, that's why I did this, so the board's aware of it. That's why I was told by my lawyer. And 3 drainage district lawyers.
Okay, well, you can talk to your counsel then.
Correct.
I'm not your attorney.
Correct.
All right, well, thank you, Doug, for the clarification. Appreciate it.
You bet, you bet. The board can act upon whatever they want to act on after they receive the reclassification report.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you, Doug, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just so you guys are aware of it, you know, I know Bruce is on the board, I don't think some of these other ones, I fought the Rutland Dam, I got the two gates put in that, it took me 2 years, and I talked to different people, same guys I talked to this, and, all 3 of them said there's no way I should get it, because Rick Hopper admitted ahead of time that our bill was cut in half because we have no tile water going to it, and we have surface water going to it. But Eric Underberg came out and looked, we're taking 100 acres of their surface water and taking it the other way. So that kills that period right there. So therefore, Rick Hopper and I are 100% disagreeable there, because we have no water going that way. I farmed for 18 years, and haven't been a drop of water going that way.
But when it was established in 49, they were included.
That is correct, but in 50, they put the water the other way, and it's a total different deal. That contract is no longer existing, because our tile wasn't even in there at that time.
But
And it's a
you
new
can't
district.
take into consideration the tile.
The tile don't go that way, Trish, and the surface water don't either. Rick told me that.
My question is,
I don't know,
this
I'm not gonna fight it.
objection is with
So
with
Rick told
the
me the tile
old
doesn't go that way.
reclassification, so when the new one comes, will they
Yeah,
have
so
to
my
redo
understanding is
it?
once we accept this new reclassification, then you better resubmit this.
That's what I'm saying.
Dates.
I just wanna make sure that you do it with the right date, so that you're...
Because the old is done, there's nothing you can do with the old one, that's...
That's what Rick told me to get it in there now.
You're good.
So you guys-
Yep.
Yep, you're fine.
So you gotta wait for the new one then?
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Which
So
one?
Rick says that we have no tile water going that way, Trish. That takes us out of the tile part of it. Then he talks surface water, and our surface water don't go that way either. So where are we? We're a lake is what we are. We don't go nowhere until we went 1950. You can't drain a lake, and that's where we're at. And that's why we're not in this drainage system.
But the code says you're once in the district, you stay in the district, no matter what your assessment, you're still in the watershed.
That was illegal back then, Trish.
What was illegal?
That, in 1939, they didn't bring this up that way, Trish. the water did not go that way, they went behind the ballgame, and that's why we started now, and Rick's the one that told me about it, so, that's all I got to say.
I wasn't there.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. This next one, discussion on 35 outlet. I spoke last week, I went up and talked to John Beatty, I had a few minutes, I went up and talked to him, because Jeff Birdie had approached me about Doug Marshall was out doing his grinding along that outlet.
Recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, it's fine, Doug asked him for permission, he gave him permission to go in there and grinding stuff, but we still haven't gotten any kind of written easement drawn up.
No.
So I thought, well, I'll go and talk to John about it, and John says he cannot write this easement up, because he represents the board, he does not represent drainage districts.
Yep.
So we'd have to hire an outside attorney to draw up this easement between the landowners along that stream. So that's what I found out from him. And I really think we should have something written up before we have people going in there and working. Doug worked in there for a little over an hour, and his machine broke down. I think I caught him on Thursday, and he just got his machine back. And he was gonna try to do a little bit more. So, I think that's something we need to keep pressing forward on.
Do we need to get ahold of Doug again and have him get us an easement drawn up?
I mean, Rick Hopper?
Well,
What do you say?
You mean Doug Strike, the attorney?
Oh,
well,
no, we can do it with a local attorney, it was way cheaper. Doug's...
It don't have to be...
He represents more of the Iowa DD District Association.
Yeah, that's high dollar lawyer there.
Yeah. I have this discussion, which I agree with you 100%, and Dave kind of alluded, we've been at this with Jacobson Westergaard, we've been at it with, recently, with Jacobson Westergaard in getting some factual distances and information, and that keeps, we don't quite get there to even know if, do we really even need an attorney? We still don't have any report.
John, he suggested we hire a local attorney to write up an easement with the landowners. He says it can be fairly simple, you don't have to make it,
Okay.
you have the right to go in and clean back brush so many feet from the center of the stream.
Yep. No, I don't argue.
And then come in and spray to control the brush.
But we were waiting for an engineer's report on the so many feet.
And I think the chipping was part of that, determining
The width.
the easement on like the equipment that they're going to be using.
Yeah, how much room do we have to need to work?
What are they
with?
gonna do to take care of the chips? Are they gonna leave the chips?
Mhm.
I mean, is there a
Yeah,
lot
the
of them? Chip, chip.
It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was part of Doug's report back to Jacobson Westergaard or...
Doug Marshall.
Well, they
Yeah.
talked about whether they were gonna have to physically
Remove
burn,
trees.
haul, chip, I mean, there's...
It would be a lot of
Yeah.
work if they were gonna haul them.
Because Rick Peterson said he didn't wanna be part of it if he was gonna have to try to get a special permit to burn, 'cause the city wasn't gonna let it burn right there.
Hauling.
No.
So, that was... That's why Humboldt Homes just says, you know what, you guys, what we're gonna do is our own bridge, and you can go play wherever, so...
Right.
I agree with you, I think just have somebody write something up, so Jeff Birdie, whoever it is, has the ability to say,
So we were going that direction, so we were waiting for, like I said, an engineer's report to say, you need this much easement. And then that could have been relayed, if you needed to involve an attorney,
Yeah.
does that make sense? He could have had that report, and he could have said, he could have contacted landowners and drawn up the agreement. So we just, since we seem to be interminably waiting on any information, do we take it upon ourselves to just contact an attorney and move forward with the easement agreements?
The problem, we're having an engineer's report on a private stream. that's the deal there. That's why it's hard to do an engineer report on a private stream, because who's gonna pay the bill?
Ultimately, it's gonna be the district, yes. And they, as are they gonna pay for any cleanup expense in there, because it benefits them. And we already have the discussion, upon the discussion, that the
I'm getting to that, Gary, just hang on.
landowners with the
I'm
agreement.
gonna let him talk, because, no, I'm just, gonna let him talk,
So
because
it's gonna be too difficult
Gary
to
is
assess.
adamant that, is it 19th or 16th Street up there by, that goes by the center? He thinks it's at least 10 foot higher than what Highway 3 is, and he says, we're wasting our money, and I visited last time we talked about this. Is it worth doing it? Gary thinks it's a waste of money, so...
You couldn't stop that water. Those trees can grow and grow. You couldn't stop that water if you wanted to stop. There's so much fall there, I don't know, but you ask an engineer, and he's gonna say, you need to clean it out, because that's gonna be money in this pocket. But I'm telling you right now, it's still worse.
Well, I think the problem was the debris that ends up at Highway 3, right? That was one of our concerns, is cleaning out the old dead
Well,
junk.
that you gotta keep, that's what
Right.
I'm saying.
And getting rid of the
But,
crappy trees that are dying.
that's true, but I just don't think you need to get so carried away on this.
That's what we're really going to, Gary.
I don't think anybody's carried away, I think all we're trying to do is just move forward with it.
You pretty much hit the nail on the head.
From what I understand, what we were talking about, it's not a full clean out, it's just getting the brush and the dead trees, and then the little crappy ones that are, isn't that
Well,
cleaned up?
if a mangial tree falls in there and ends up against the culvert, it is gonna...
No, from what I understand, it was just the clean out
And not
of the
necessarily
trees
to
and
make
stuff
it
like that.
But not-
Am I understanding it
Yeah,
right?
you are right
Just to let
on.
it keep going through there.
Yeah, because little trees turn into big trees. If they would've done this 12 years ago when they first started it, it would've been a lot less than it is now.
And the only reason we even started talking about it was because we're putting more water into the ditch that's coming down through there with the...
But like I say, the fall.
Yeah, there's plenty of fall.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Keep the debris out of the ditch and be able to get in and do that. There's
The
no...
water backs up there, right, was it?
Yeah, well, if you get a tree that falls in the ditch and it goes up against a culvert, it is gonna slow down the flow through the
Down
culvert.
there, that's good.
Yeah, so that's all, yeah, we weren't in it to...
Full clean out.
No,
we don't need a report
Tree.
No, I don't. I think we just need to get an
Just get an
easement.
easement set up.
And get the
True.
trees
Fair enough.
clean.
And I was doing some legal work with Andy Lemon, and that's who John recommended. He said, Andy can write it up, and I asked Andy, can you write it? He said, oh, yeah, it's not a big deal.
Well, let's fill that
Give me a
out.
list of the landowners, he says, I'll write it up.
Bingo.
So forth.
I think we need an easement whether we do anything or not.
Right.
Time's gonna tell when and if we ever get that tile up north completed.
It will be, Dave. Let's
That
say,
water's gonna come down through there, it's gonna clean a lot of that crap out to start with.
in all fairness to tile, it isn't going to exponentially add to what's going down there now.
Same amount of water.
Yeah.
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 But Trish actually explained why this whole thing started. It's because it's so overgrown, and there's so many mangy old trees, and they fall in, and they end up against the culvert structure.
Well, that's why she's in drainage.
Yeah, she knows. So that's all we wanna do. Rick's idea is great. I think we move forward, let's get an attorney, let's give him the names of landowners, let him draw up the easement, that we just have permission to do a little bit of tree removal, and let's be done with it.
Let's figure out what distance we're gonna do. Are we gonna do 14 feet, you can do
30 feet back.
30 feet,
So
or...
again, I am referring back to, we never did get a distance.
All right, tell you what, I'll talk with Doug Marshall this week, 'cause I got other business with him.
Get us a distance.
I'll talk to him, see how much room he needs, so he clean the minimal amount out.
What's a fair from one side to the other, that someone could go in there and do some cleaning, that's an easement?
Okay, I'll get a number of how many feet back from the edge of the stream he needs
Bingo.
to get the work done.
Because to give that to an attorney, they're gonna have to know a number. You can't just contact the landowners and, well, we don't know if it's 5 feet or 50 feet.
Yeah.
We'd like to probably know.
Okay.
If you can get a number, then we can just take the bull by the horns, get the attorney, get the easements, and get in there and clean, and get rid of some of those mangy
Probably,
trees.
at
Some
this
of them are
point,
pretty healthy.
some of them are pretty healthy with the leaves
He ground
and...
up a 12-incher the
Why
other
his
day.
stone broke.
Yeah, he said they're supposed to grind up 8-inch, he said he ground up a 12-inch tree the other day.
Oh, my gosh. No
And
wonder
he says
so.
it's incredible what that machine will do.
Well, there you go.
So, do we need access points then? Like,
I think he can probably come in from the one end, but I'll talk with Doug.
So get us a number,
I'll get a number.
then we can, in turn, forward that to an attorney,
Yeah.
and then they can draw up the easements, and then we'll be done with it, because just waiting on any engineering information, we've been waiting for 12 years.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
now, sounds like a good idea.
Okay, any other discussion on that?
No.
Now, hopefully we won't be talking about it for the next 12 years.
No, I like your zoning idea.
All right. Anything else in drainage?
I have something for you. Oh, go ahead, Trish.
it's on the agenda even. Oh, 35 branch seats. This is the supplemental agreement that come back from King's, and it's already been signed, so I just wanna make sure that that's okay, and then have Dave sign it.
Okay. That's the same one we looked at?
It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's just the official,
I'll make a motion to sign the agreement with King Construction on 35 branch C.
I'll second, oh, go ahead, Tammy.
No, go ahead.
I'll second that.
Can we do that legally because it's not on the agenda?
Yeah.
I have
It is.
it.
It is.
Yeah. Right, Ernie?
She did it, she got her.
Okay, any other?
Yes. I want to make everyone aware, because we are drainage district trustees,
Just a minute.
No.
We've got a motion
Oh.
to sign this.
Oh, that's right. I agree.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
Sorry, Dave.
now you can go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Dave. Anyway, Cassuth County, Palo Alto County, supervisors, therefore trustees, are moving forward with a project. They call it Lots Creek. Okay? It has to be a drainage district structure that probably was built, as many were, as drainage ditches many years ago that hook onto the creek. Prairie Creek, your favorite thing, BD-18 bumps into, in our county as an example.
Yeah.
So they have full right and jurisdiction to explore the project that they are, and it is a massive cleanup of that ditch. In our county, it is Lots Creek, and it is not in a drainage district of any sort. So, there's been a lot of contention with the folks up in Cassuth and Palo Alto County, and it's a very expensive, over $2 million project. But Lots Creek goes into our county. And it is, like I said, it is not a drainage district, and to my knowledge, and I'm not a drainage district attorney or any of that, you don't have any jurisdiction in the creek.
Other than clean out blockages, that's about it.
So, that hasn't been one of the drainage things we've been discussing lately, among many others. That water, there again, how much more comes than already does is up for debate, but they are going to do a substantial clean out, talking of trees, they're gonna move trees, they're gonna, I don't know if there's gonna be any straightening involved, but there's certainly gonna be cleaning involved, the length of that, in those two counties. And it ends up in our county. Already, just north of Bode, where it is Lots Creek, the blacktop, I don't know the number without looking, is low, where it goes across, it floods with our big rains. The water already goes over the road.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. And part of that reason is you can stand on the bridge and look down Lots Creek in Humboldt County to the south, the flow, it is a creek. So it's not obviously taking water as fast as a drainage ditch will, drainage ditch will. So I've had concerns, already their voice concerns Cassuth County, we got no jurisdiction. Concerns from Humboldt County residents, well, if we're gonna get even more water faster, we're gonna have to raise the road at bare minimum, it's gonna be flooded a lot more. And I spoke with one of the Cassuth County supervisors, he informed me that he thought, and their board thought, that the engineer on that project would have contacted us by now, and obviously they have not. So, I think it's fair to find out if, since it's their project, can we have them come in, can they do anything into Humboldt County and do some cleaning of any obstructions on their dime, means it's their water? I don't know this. But it is a concern. Whether it makes any difference to the way it is right now, I don't know. But they are gonna go forward with that project, big ditch cleaning project, basically, and it ends up in our county.
Gosh, it's going to Palo Alto, I didn't know that.
Yeah, starts in Palo Alto, goes through Cassuth, and it ends up Lots Creek in, well, most of the county is Lots Creek. I think there is a portion of it in Humboldt County that is a district structure.
Okay.
So anything district-wise, of course, we have jurisdiction over districts. But
So, I'm trying to picture, is that where the substation is, where you go north there, and is that little low bridge, is that the one that you're talking?
yes.
Right on the county
Yep, when you
line?
turn, if you go around that curve, and then you
You're
take the
going north.
blacktop and go north towards,
Over
Overton.
the road there, huh?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
That bridge is pretty low.
Yep, that's exactly where it is.
Yeah.
And that's, I guarantee, on the east side of that road, on the east side of that bridge, that is Lots Creek.
Right.
There is no, that is not a drainage district. Now, I can't speak without getting the map out and looking as you go northwest.
So does that, I wonder if that drains over to that big ditch towards, over towards St. Joe? Or does that come down south towards Bode? Do you know, Trish?
Okay, come again. Lots Creek is that HK2?
It comes
Yes.
between Hawaii and, Iowa Avenue, comes across.
If you're a little taller, you can reach it.
I know it. Give me a step, Steve. Right there, the ditch ends, the creek does not.
Right. But it
If you
goes,
see this meandering, this is Lots, this, like I said, in most of our county, this is Lots Creek. If, I have property up next to it, probably actually on the other side of it, that doesn't do much good, it's a pasture, and it does meander its way, and it eventually dumps into the river.
Delana,
So,
in the north part.
I guess we'd have to look, yes, you can see Cassuth County.
Yeah.
Then you can see the HK2, through part of our county, it is a drainage ditch, but it does end. It does have to travel quite a ways yet before it...
Okay, so
One day,
we're gonna
like
do a
any
massive
one-
clean out on HK2 then, that's what you're saying.
Crosses
Yeah,
P30.
well, whatever the rest of the bridges are going.
But the other are gonna come in our county clean too.
That would be, half a mile up off of
No.
110th.
We don't know, no one's, no one knows. I don't know.
Delana Township.
But given the fact that that goes through us, and there's joint with Cassuth, we haven't heard boo, hiss, or
So you thought,
sing.
yeah, they're gonna bring more water towards you, at least say this is what our...
Yeah, and this is actually, part of that is a joint district,
Comes in over here.
rightfully so.
Comes in on section 5, comes around across 4.
So,
Comes into 10.
let's see, here is,
That's the
Across
Right.
Highway 169 up south of the, up north of the Bold corner. By Peter.
So really, it is a drainage ditch all the way down to almost 169.
Now, Barry's doing something right up there by his place.
apparently so. The way it looks on the map, yeah. So we'd have jurisdiction,
There's something digging
That
in Alan's property over there. But then it comes back around and goes south and then...
He might be
comes
just
down.
doing some drainage of his own.
Is that what it is?
I think, I don't know,
we have,
seen any machine out there.
But when we do that, there's a lot of stuff...
that was one of our own, right, we have very recent footage of that ditch. And it doesn't even mean there, but I don't think...
It's a natural wandering stream, so it's not
massive
under FEMA.
Right.
Well, we'll have to talk to Cassuth and find out what they're going.
They did offer, their meeting, tomorrow, on Tuesdays, and they offered to us that we could teleconference them, we can go to the meeting, obviously, so the meeting with our concerns. I believe it's Bolton and Mink is the engineering company. And just so you know, we got hired by Bolton and Mink, our dear friend Kent Rhodey. And he's the engineer in charge. And I won't mention publicly what I mentioned to one of the Cassuth County Supervisors trustees, my thoughts on that, but I did mention it to him. Anyway, he said, well, maybe now I know why they haven't contacted you guys in Dallas.
Well,
So, I believe that they're not doing their due diligence, because that's, A, it's a joint district, and B, goes through quite a bit of our county before it ever gets to the Des Moines River. So that's...
I'm surprised they haven't talked to us if they're concerned about Watts Creek, and that's way down from where...
That's down, but, you know, what about the drainage ditch itself?
Yeah.
Which they, you know, so there you go, that's about all I got, but this has been just over the last week or two. I've had it, and the Humboldt County residents, their concern was the road, that was their big concern.
Yeah.
So, anyway, something that I think we, need to get more information on.
Yeah. Keep this...
How are we doing on our work orders? Are we holding our own, or are we...
sort of, if they know people could get out and work.
Right, well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, but...
Only getting a few extras now, a little at a time. Things like the Monty Toohey one, where it's, they find one giant hole and then see another one.
You talked to Rick and Travis to talk to you on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know it's not as important in the wintertime, because there isn't a whole lot of fixing, but I still would like to think that we would get to the point where we have our monthly list. And I would like to see you put the date that you put that in, and I'm just gonna use Doug's name. No, the day you receive it, the day that you hand that out to, say, Doug Marshall or whoever the contractor is. And, because we had one point talked about what's the point? 2 months, 3 months, no activity? But at 3 months, our period of being able to work on stuff is too damn small in order to hold it for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it's into the next year. And then we got a hole that's been sucking dirt for 6 months. So, we have to be able to help you, and I'm not saying we're gonna run out and look at every hole, but I just wanna try to give you a little ability to, if you put it in somebody's hands, that they stay after it a little bit.
It's getting better.
I think they're
Our list is getting smaller.
honestly getting, well, sorta.
Somewhat,
Right
that was the
now.
last time we saw it was. It used to be 3 pages.
Yeah.
Might be now.
It's a smaller print.
Well,
Because of FEMA.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to make it work.
Well, we just need to
No.
figure out what a realistic expectation is of getting this done, getting something...
I mean,
In this crappy weather, there is no...
I know.
I think they're doing great right now. I'm still getting invoices from Marcel and D&M and, Rick Peterson Excavation.
Good.
You should have one coming from
Because the
that one
less
over there
dirt that goes
that's come
in the
across
pile, the
his.
less often we have to clean these ditches out.
Yes.
The one that I told you Dennis Skidell had,
Yes,
was it Luff?
left.
Luff was out there fixing, and they went and fixed that hole that he'd reported, or we had reported, so...
Haven't seen it
We
yet.
can get
but-
those, no, I haven't seen it either, but if we get somebody that will do that, it's so much easier than try to get a new guy to come, and then we have to pay mobilization fee and whatever, so...
Exactly. I think they're doing good.
I think it's been better.
As far as they can get in the field and do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been a beast for them. But, yeah, I'll get my list.
All right, well, sometime in the next couple of weeks, if we...
We always have drainage, so whenever.
See, this is my hoop.
Can I,
Jump through it.
Jump, jump, jump.
good stuff,
What's up, Bruce?
Who was this Doug that you had on the phone, can I ask?
He is an attorney out of Des Moines. He represents
IDAL.
IDDA, which is Iowa Drainage District Association. We have him on retainer, and we're a member of that organization, so we use him for things like this, just to help us out, clarification.
And then,
Doug Strike is his last name, isn't it?
Strike, yeah.
yeah.
and then 2 weeks ago, Rick Hoffman, at the very end of the meeting, mentioned about this, reclassified it as impounding acres. Where did that ever come from?
I don't remember hearing that.
And right at the very end, he said it quietly, it's on tape, and I'm really surprised, but they said that he's gonna reclassify it, because he showed you the area photo, 2017.
Yes.
All the water was set.
I think what he's stating there, recently in the reclassifications, places that were repeatedly drowned out
Right,
get a higher cost
right.
or benefit. They get a higher benefit, because that's land that basically you got zero out of, and at least now you farm it, so it's, the cost is higher per acre.
Where did he come up with this idea? Because I've known Rick forever, and Jacobson and Westengard have never figured it that way.
They told me.
They have figured it that way before.
We've done it for, several different projects lately.
Have you?
Yes,
Okay.
we did it on, DD six out here. They changed, went back, they brought it to us, we looked at it, and said, this is ridiculous, because this land that used to sit underwater, you know, north of Thor there, they were getting, yeah, we said they need to be assessed higher, because that water sat there forever. And, so we changed the way it was done,
And this was looked at that in that similar manner.
same manner. You know, the land that used to drown out all the time is gonna get a higher assessment.
I know there's the guy in Spencer does it all the time, in Holland.
Yeah.
He does it 100%. Rick told me they go by total acres.
Yeah, and we're changing that.
Yep.
Well, they, yeah, still go by total acres,
But they never used to call it, assess them higher.
right.
They went by soil types and
Right.
elevations
Yep.
and distances from the main, but we threw that added thing in there.
They got a colored chart when they do it, and every...
Well, the pounded acres are at 100%, right?
It's a lot of work to do.
Just curious, is that a natural creek, that area you was talking about earlier, or is that a good ditch?
Here,
Up in Lodge
here,
Creek?
Lodge
Or
Creek.
the one out here by the
By the...
hospital?
Hospital.
That is a creek.
It's a creek.
It's under DNR management,
It is a creek.
yeah.
What is it?
And we've already talked to them about, we can go along there and clean brush and take debris out of the creek. You just can't straighten them.
What did Ron say the name of it? I can't remember. He called it by name.
There is it's called something. I don't know. Can I add one thing back to the Cassuth Palo Alto project? You are in contact with Lisa Cassuth, drainage clerk?
I've never even heard of this before.
He or she?
She, yes.
She? Can you just visit with her at some point? Say that we've visited about this, because...
Ever send us some information,
Well,
what's going on?
Well, and it affects, if it's in HK
It
two,
affects us.
we're gonna have to be paying on this.
Yeah, it's gonna affect the landowners in that area, and we should be notified of this.
I think I gave you enough of the backstory without digging in myself into some type of like drainage ditch. There's probably a reason why we haven't been contacted, but that's no excuse.
Right.
We should have been.
Yeah.
We should have been.
Professional crew.
Well,
Yeah,
it'd be different if it wasn't running into Humboldt County.
yeah.
It's running into Humboldt County, and there's a joint district. So, I think that, do you think that we, like I said, the board, or at least the one member, and he said, I don't see any objection, offered that, you know, we could have a joint call on this. Of course, their meetings are on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just, it's just at the inception, they're working through the,
So it must be just kinda starting.
yeah.
Well, if
They aren't
they're just
doing
starting, I
anything.
would think that they would throw us on the list of,
I
Contact.
think we're already on the list, I just don't think, obviously, we haven't heard anything, so I want everybody to know about it, 'cause I just recently heard about it, so,
So
yeah.
is it on their agenda tomorrow?
I don't know if this in particular is, but they just said that they generally have a drainage discussion, their meetings are structured a little differently, and they have commentary period, and said, you guys, someone come up, or, by a phone, or, you know, but I think, in fairness, if you just contact, they obviously have a drainage clerk.
Yeah, just
And voice our concern.
ask her what's going on up there on HK two.
You might mention that we're not real happy about no communication.
Mhm.
Well, I'd use that as a closer, wouldn't start out by...
Yeah.
No, okay,
Yeah, so-
I'm not too happy about it, and the one supervisor...
Well, I'm not very happy either, but
He said- he was a little spicy, no one's told you guys? Yeah, I said, nope, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, so I'm gonna tell everybody else. I want everybody to get up to speed, so when you're up to speed here.
Yeah.
Trish, do you have to scan that, DD 35 branch C, our signature on there, do you have to send that back to Jacobson Westgard or to King's, so that they have,
Yeah, I'll send it back to Jacobson Wester, I think I have to
yeah,
send.
just put it so their file is up to date.
Yeah, I signed 3
Right,
copies of it.
Oh,
all
he
right,
did, okay.
Well,
Not an original.
good.
Okay.
Bruce had one more comment, I saw his hand go up.
The reason I'm here is because my landlady died, I got to be the executor, I got out of it here a year ago because I had nothing to benefit from it. I still don't, I'm the executor of it, and I called down, Trish to testify to this. Rick sent a letter out to our heirs that our bill would be cut in half right off the bat, so we had no tile going that way. So then we got the bill of $50,000 or $52,000, don't quote me, but it was like $26,000 if we went to tax in the first half. That's fine, so I figured that's it. So I got the executor, I called in trying to do my bookwork, and what do we owe for the last half, is it done? And he says, call Trish. Trish looked it up, and she said we owe $13,000. Now that's...
I can't tell you how much.
What?
I cannot tell you specifically.
Well, he told me what was wrote down, and we added it up. I added
But
it
is
up.
it,
Yeah,
is it done?
I mean, I can't tell you because based on the old classification, is what,
Right.
only thing I can tell you, and we don't even have a final number on,
Right, but what Rick was doing was taking half of the last half.
Half of the old half.
Of the last half coming. He didn't do nothing with the first half. So instead of $26,000 we was looking at $39,000. And he's got, the kids got letters from Rick a year ago that said he's gonna cut the bill in half. And now we found out we're not even supposed to go on again, it just keeps building. That's why I got to work with this.
Let's see what Rick's got to say and get this thing finalized before...
Get through the reclassification, because it's just chasing our tail.
Okay.
Thanks.
okay, thanks Bruce.
For you guys' information, Sandy and I, Trish, was all met with FEMA on the 18th of June. They have extended,
I saw that.
I heard
the
that.
lanes have to be in by August 17th. They've extended to August 17th, and all damages from the water that we have received have to be in by then. or they're not-
I'm guessing that, I'm guessing the way that email read, if you don't have them put together by then, this is like the third time they've
There'll be
extended.
no fourth extension.
Right.
And then, thanks for you guys doing that, yeah.
Thank you.
And we did get a extension, through the whole county. We're one of 74, I think it is, counties in the state that the governor has signed that were declared and extended farther. So,
Okay.
we've got an extension throughout the whole county on other projects.
But that's still what day did you say, the 17th of August?
I'm not sure how long that one runs.
But drainage-wise, it's the 17th.
Drainage rise is 17.
Okay.
Are we sitting pretty good with our stuff up to, you got, talked to the guy from,
Well,
Yep.
I was impressed with how much Trish and, is it Bill? And so much they've gotten done.
We've got a lot of it
Get that
done.
in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
they wouldn't
a
get
lot.
yours done.
And that's
And then
not all,
The higher people are...
that's where there's...
I wouldn't do it.
I would attribute a lot of this to the tight ship that you run.
Could be.
He likes,
Yeah.
I would not.
Well,
No, as Trish gets them in, she turns them over to the guy we hired,
Good.
and he's got them all logged in, everything. They was impressed with
He
it.
seems to be a pretty good guy.
He likes it. I said, I wouldn't do it for what he's making, but I wouldn't like it. He does a good job.
Very knowledgeable.
We have to bring Peggy back, right?
I think so.
Anything else on drainage? Anything else?
I don't think so.
I'd make a motion to go out unless you...
Yeah, did I mention about on DD 10, out here, we're gonna do the clean out, some of the farmers were concerned about the
Donnie.
same issue downstream, past the outlets and obstructions and stuff. I don't know if I mentioned
Did you
that.
ride that?
No, but I just got my four-wheeler running, so I'm going to, I wasn't gonna walk it.
What does it drain into?
Well, it's a little tributary of Beaver Creek,
Okay.
so it runs about a half a mile.
Runs in between Darrell and Donnie Keenest out
Yeah.
there and Beaver.
And so,
That's the end of it.
yeah, that's where outlets into.
I would suggest you bring up that concern when we get to the hearing,
Yeah.
good letting coming down the road here that we got scheduled. Because there again, these ditches that are ditches, we have a lot of them outlet into something that's not. And that's always a concern.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's an old remnants of an old private crossing and trees and all kinds of...
That should be taken out.
Right.
So, I'll check that out.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't have a four-wheeler that isn't even fixed, so
Well,
I'm not gonna walk it either.
I thought this was for my kids, I'm a little large on it, but it does work.
Okay.
I don't even have one period.
I'll make a motion to go out of drainage.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're out of drainage, back into general
See
session.
what the Cassup folks have to say.
I will. I'll email her right away.
And it's part of Palo Alto's involved too, if you ever deal with them.
Not yet.
But it does start in Palo Alto, just so you know.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
doesn't have a P then, or an A. No, P. It's an HK too.
There, they probably have, there's...
Here's Mr. Lee.
Must stop, yeah.
Just like, it, you know, we
I
got...
bet he's been sitting out there.
Big Palo Alto, I suppose, something up there.
Well, like the one up in North is
Yeah, it's
HKH.
I know,
Yeah, so we'll have to check that out too. More information, be better.
but I'm just not too happy with the...
My son works with,
Well, let's just dump this down there, we don't give a shit once it gets in the county.
Yeah, he's one of the big contributors to his team group. Yeah, so they do a lot of stuff with his
You are back.
Turn some of those basketball kids into baseball players there.
Well, they get free tickets all the time to games and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're back, approve resolution 2019-14, final department appropriation transfer.
I could only find one that needed to be changed, and it wasn't by much, $100, so we're gonna, code allows you to borrow from areas within the same service area, so this was service area 1. So we're, putting money into 0102 and taking it out of 1100.
That's it?
That's it.
I'll make
Very
a
simple.
motion to adopt resolution 2019-14.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Appropriate budgets for fiscal year 19 and 20.
Okay, we usually like to do this the last time in June, so that when we run into July, if we have any handwritten checks that we have to do, then the money's appropriated, because otherwise we can't spend the money till you guys okay it. The total appropriation, for all budgets is $10,558,425. In the past, some boards have done just half, but then it makes it a little more confusing, because you gotta try to catch people as it's running out to put money back in. I looked at
amounts that we have in our cash balances, and everything looks fine if you wanna appropriate the whole thing. It's up to you guys.
Has, we've been doing this in recent history, this technicality of appropriating everything?
Yep, yep.
I'd make a motion for the total appropriations, budget, for the total, to appropriate the budgets for the fiscal year 1920 of the $10,558,425.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, authorize chairman to sign the library contract.
Okay, the library contract has changed for next year. We increased it by, I believe it was 5% is what we talked. So we have to send out the new agreement, and then everybody signs off on it and sends it back, all the different libraries. So you have to approve the new agreement. And it is the new amount listed there, $92,671.95 is the total.
I'll make a motion to approve the library agreement for $92,671.95.
I'll second the motion.
Any other discussion?
I have a quick question, so it's not,
Sure.
but this means I'm looking at this, does that mean it went from this amount to this amount?
No, the way that we split it out, there's a contract with all the different libraries, and there's a base amount, and then whatever we consider the excess of that
Okay.
base. So every year, when the amount goes up, you have this much that you have to allocate, and then also that, which is the base. And the
Okay.
base is split in the equal shares there. So all these should total that, and then all these should total that.
So basically, then this will be the total amount in
Yes.
this fiscal year that they're gonna receive?
Right. And that's done in 4 installments.
Okay, so they did bump up whatever percentage we said?
Right.
That's
Right.
basically the gist of it.
Yep, so it would have changed this amount, not the base. It would
So the
have
base
changed
stays the
amount.
same, and then, okay.
Yep, the share
So
excess.
this is the total
would
they
have
get
been-
over the fiscal year?
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
fair enough.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, approved deputy salary certificate for elected officials.
Okay, I gave you copies of the certifications for all deputies, so you should have copies from the assessor, the treasurer, the recorder, the sheriff, and myself. Going into next year, these are based on what they put in their budgets in March.
And these were the numbers you'd talked last week about in
Yes.
your,
Mhm.
real?
Yep. And this includes a new deputy for my office, since the legislature passed that there could be an additional deputy in the auditor's office, an election deputy, they're calling it.
I would make a motion to approve the deputy for the sheriffs, the auditor. We do them all as one, or
Yep, all is one.
all as one? The treasurer and the recorder?
Yep, that should be all of them.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Authorize chairman to sign the license code support agreement and information technology service agreement with Solutions.
Okay, we're required to fill this out every year for Solutions. There were no major changes. They send a letter, saying if there were any major changes in things this year. On the software support side, they didn't change anything. Travel costs went up a little bit, but that was basically it.
Okay, I make a motion to, have the chairman sign the agreement with Solutions for 2019-20.
Second that.
Any other discussion?
How long have you been using these now, Peggy?
Oh, gee, we've been with Solutions
Long time.
for a long
All right.
time, since they first
So they're
started.
familiar.
Yeah.
Good.
There'll be 2 copies of each of these when you're ready to, after your vote here.
I got a motion and a second on that.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Solution to us, though.
Yep.
Appoint representative to the Homeward Housing Trust Fund Board.
Okay, we in January had appointed, Rick Peterson with Sandy Loney as an alternate. Cheryl Reed wrote back and she said she had received a message from her governing board that says both members can't be from a local governing board. One member can be from the governing board, and then one member must be from the private sector. So
we gotta appoint somebody from the private sector.
right.
So you wanted Kent?
If that's who you want to put on there.
Kent, that was an awesome gesture that you volunteered to be on the home, I mean, right now, that's what you get for sitting in the front row.
Not one of those that never meets? I'll be on the eminent domain board.
There you go, yeah.
I thought I could shame him into it, Peggy, but I haven't heard a yes yet.
I got enough meetings to go to.
I was gonna volunteer if you were okay with that.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can be on.
I
We
think that'd be
would
good
love
for
to
us.
see you do that.
Question, so does that mean that Rick is still on it?
Yes,
You just can't have the alternate be,
right.
so you would be willing to be the alternate?
As a public citizen and not as a public official, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I would make,
before she changes
before she changes her mind, and very graciously accepted, I would appoint Peggy Rice to serve as the representative of the Homeward Housing Trust Fund Board, and thank you.
You're welcome.
I second.
You're still on it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried, you're in.
That went really fast. No, no.
Okay. Committee reports.
All right, this past Friday, June 21st, I had a second judicial district meeting in Webster City that morning. That was it for official meetings.
Okay, on Tuesday evening, I had a landfill meeting down in Fort Dodge for the regional landfill, and, interesting discussion. The city of Fort Dodge had been wanting to move their compost site out to the landfill on a temporary basis because of their construction issue with the street. Then all of a sudden it got turned into a permanent suggestion between meetings. And, so we had a interesting, or lively discussion on that, put it that way. And, I told him, I said, this is a landfill. It's not a composting site. I recommend if the city wants to do it on a, permanent, you say, let's lease them a little piece of land and let them keep doing it. Because the employees got enough to do down there without also running a compost site. And plus, we don't compost for Humboldt, we don't compost for Nerem, we don't compost for all these other communities that take stuff to the landfill. So, City of Fort Dodge wasn't too happy with that, but we did decide not to do that, so.
You weren't followed home by a trooper or something?
I I drove real slow out of town. But, so that's done. And, I don't know what they're gonna do with their compost site, but, 'cause currently they said, oh, well, you can use it for fill, and what we're basically gonna have to do, we're gonna compost this product and then bury it in our landfill, which is stupid.
Yeah, that's not why you compost.
That's not why you compost, 'cause they asked them, we already take it, we already have enough for a year, 'cause we take the compost and spread it over the top as a,
Cover.
not even cover, it's more for vegetation, for erosion control. But if we were in this process, we would have so much of it that we'd have to bury it. And we do have the permit to burn out there. They could just bring it out as trash and we could burn it, but they didn't wanna do that, because they wanna compost. Well, they can compost on their own.
Exactly.
Yeah, let the city of Fort Dodge do their composting.
Right.
That's not our, yeah, that's not our job to do
No,
that.
not the landfill's job.
No.
In my experience with composting, it's usually a city-by-city basis.
Yeah.
And it's usually composted and given away for free to people that wanna use the compost.
And the problem is they can't get rid of it for free.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
Well, there's more participation, put it that way. People that really do take advantage of it, and you just, out here, they were using it, one of the farmers was letting them put it on
Just spread it on the field.
their field, and then they'd plow it under,
Yeah.
work well, 'cause it's sandy soil.
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be,
Yeah, I mean, there's places,
win there.
yeah.
but the problem is, it's mainly, I don't know if they do it out here, food products, but it's mainly just grass clippings and tree leaves and small branches, and it doesn't compost very well, because there's not enough
They don't roll
organic
it.
stuff. Yeah, the recipe ain't really good for it, so it really doesn't turn into very good compost. So, anyway, that's done.
Good for sticking up for the landfill.
Yeah, I wasn't the most liked person on the board.
No, that's okay, you should be used to that by now.
Yeah.
Anything else, Rick?
Nope.
On Friday, the 21st, I, listened on the phone to the ministerial board on discussion on the food pantry. They're still actively pursuing, trying to find a alternative, building, so that they can move Udno, and the ladies could increase the hours and not have to leave up here. And so, if anybody has any ideas as to what building they would be able to help us locate. There's a lot of buildings in town that are empty, but there's that, price tag that, you know,
Yeah.
we try to, and the county's been doing it for a long time out here.
Yeah,
So, the
Rent's been
cheaper
real
rent,
reasonable.
yeah, the rent is real cheap, so that's the issue we have, so,
So we're still essentially looking for another spot.
yeah, we're still pushing that. Just letting you know, this week, my CFR meeting on Wednesday, or excuse me, on Thursday at Webster City, but I've also been invited to participate in this Ashland Clark deal. So, I'm probably gonna skip my meeting, 'cause I wanna do part of that up there too, so.
That's no problem.
Just letting you know, so I didn't get scolded by, but I think that's more important.
I will
Yeah,
do.
that's a good deal.
I'm not sure I can hit anything, but...
You have to play in a softball
Well, they
game?
asked if I would, I said, you don't realize I'm an old man with a plastic knee.
You better hit it over the...
I might go to that just to see that.
Yeah, well, I told them,
Donate $20 just to
I
see
had double
that.
carpal tunnel surgery, and I don't know if I can hang on to the bat. Last time I tried to swing in a golf club, it ended up about, further than the ball, and so I said, they said, well, maybe you could just pitch and we'll just leave you. I said, that might be the option. I did agree to go, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. The 17th, I had a daycare finance, committee meeting. So we all met we're trying to get a real idea of what the, because it hasn't really been a full year yet, but we're working on that to get what the expenses are and what we need to possibly charge
for fees if we need to go up, or if there's something, you know, how we can get more people in the door, or I should say, children in the door. But it was a good meeting, so we're getting there. It's starting to kind of...
Take a little form, a little
Yeah,
shape.
it's starting to get there, and I'm really, it's been a good committee that I've been on. And then, Tuesday, I was here, in the morning for the FEMA kickoff meeting. And then at 1 o'clock, I also had the, kitty cat, we had the regular monthly meeting, so, and some people were coming off the board now is gonna be, committee is gonna be smaller. We don't need the full, we don't need all the members on there, so I think there's 3 that dropped off. And they did a really good job, working on it for 4 years. Wednesday, I had a conference call with, Iowa Workforce Development for our Region 5. Everybody unanimously agreed to do the appeal letter. So, everybody, we kind of talked about it more, they got more information. They don't feel that it's going to cost any of the counties any money, even if they do appeal, because it's mostly going to be a letter. Now, there may be a thing where we all have to go, not we all, but a few may have to go to Washington to talk on it, because the letter's actually going to have to go to the national level, because of, now, so they can override it. So, yeah, so I think it looks, we don't know whether it's going to happen, but it got in time, so we're going to be appealing. We'll see what happens. That's all I've got.
Tuesday, I had the FEMA meeting up here. Tuesday night, I had an EMA meeting. Wednesday, the 19th, I had an EMA executive meeting, middle of the afternoon. Thursday, I met with Jim Brownback on the doghouse, home for the dogs.
Home for the dogs. And the kids.
And Friday, I talked to the County Attorney John on a couple of items. And that's all I have. Got anything for us?
I think I have one more. Can get to it, that one. One more of these opioid things that are confidential. And then, I'll talk to Rick afterwards on, this estimate from Armstrong,
Oh, okay.
funding on the fountain.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, that's it.
That's it. Todd, you got anything for us?
I'm just here for the meeting after the meeting.
Okay.
Meeting after the meeting? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this, I had Peggy get an estimate for a water bottle filler for down in the basement where this old antique water fountain is that we have. So,
Oh, good.
something for the gals to fill their water bottles with, you guys. So,
I like it.
If you,
Okay, is anything else to come before the board?
Make a motion to adjourn.
second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 10